Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And we're back to cover episode 4 of season 4 of Fox's retelling of the Dark Knight mythology, entitled The Demon's Head. So join us as we venture into Batman's birthplace.
And explore Gotham.
Ooh, yeah, that's right, Dragon. We're still catching up on Gotham. Of course, that's what happens when I take a trip. You know, God help us all. Hopefully, Gotham won't be airing in like late February, early March when I go on my Disney trip. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But Dragon, we're still trying to catch up. Of course, a new episode just aired tonight, which I have not seen. So we're talking about last week's episode. We're talking about The Demon's Head, a very Raj Al Ghul-centric episode. Let's dive right into it, Dragon. How does it start off?
Yes, we start off with Bruce and Alfred. They are basically, we had that great billionaire brat thing where Bruce Wayne, he outbid Barbara for the knife, and that Ra's was not ticked off that the knife is falling into
$2 million!
Yep. So basically, we pick up where that left off. So now Bruce has a knife in his possession. He takes the knife to Dr. Winthrop. Essentially, he's a guy who works in a museum. He is an antiquist. Yes. And he's kind of the authority on kind of old items. And basically, you took it to him to kind of learn about the item, kind of get some kind of information on it, so he can kind of decipher what Ra's purposes are, how it connects to Ra's al Ghul, et cetera, et cetera. So while they're doing so, basically this guy's kind of going through, and he's observing the surface stuff right now. He's going to decipher like the ancient language that's inscribed on the knife a little later on. But we meet Alex. Alex
kind of proves himself to be a history buff, sort of right off the bat, kind of going in with the details, impressing Bruce.
There's kind of a fan theory. I don't believe in it, but some people think it's kind of like how people thought Barnes might be Humpty Dumpty. Some people think that Alex might be a bookworm.
Oh, God. I think he's a better done Tommy Elliott to a certain extent.
But of course, there's a big reason why he's not Tommy Elliott.
Well, yeah.
I still hear rumors of Tommy Elliott, though, so let's, I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, as a friend character to Bruce Wayne, he's more well-known than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I want to say, I think his actor is good. He's grown up since I saw him last on About a Boy. He did this show called About a Boy, which is, it was decent. It was kind of his wholesome, kind of like, oh, it's kind of a cute show.
Mm-hmm.
With Minnie Driver as the mother, so it's kind of anyway. So yeah, he's grown up. I thought he did a good job in this episode. So we meet Alex. He is the assistant grandson of Dr. Winthrop. So Alfred's a little concerned. Again, we kind of have some nice thing here about Alfred. He's concerned for the safety now involving these two people in Ra's al Ghul. How dangerous Ra's al Ghul is. Alfred is the authority on how dangerous Ra's al Ghul is after being literally stabbed through the chest.
Right.
And Bruce asked for the Winthrop's discretion on the matter. Let's just keep this between us, gentlemen. Let's keep it kind of a close matter. That which they agree, of course. We have this really cool upside down.
This is a great shot. Yeah.
And by the way, and I got to correct myself and say I screwed up last episode. So the director of last episode was Mark Tondari, I want to say his name was Tondari, and the director of this episode is Ken Fink. I basically said Ken Fink directed the last one. The last one was really well directed, but this one also has some really good shots. That's why I was thinking Ken Fink for the last one. So Ken Fink is responsible for this great. And also Ben McKenzie wrote this episode too. We should also get that out of the way at the beginning here. So Ben McKenzie directed the Shaman episode last season. They did the Court of Owls kind of hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Ben McKenzie, and here we have Ben McKenzie writing. I think he did a good job. So yes, we have this great reveal of. I'm sorry, taste of the Riddler reveal.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like the Riddler, like upside down, almost in kind of like a sleeping bat position, if you will. Yeah. And the camera like kind of like circles around to see him like sitting on the floor. Let me see. What's he doing exactly? He's like just kind of like losing his mind, basically.
He's plotting his revenge, but of course with his diminished intellectual capacity now.
Mm.
So he basically the effect of the freezing process again from the last episode we've established. Basically being kind of in his mind racing while he's just in basically frozen in a position for 5 months. It's going to do a number on his mind. He's just trying to that, and also he might just still be kind of recuperating over being outsmarted by the Penguins. It's kind of a twofold kind of a thing there, possibly.
So he's promising a picture of the Penguin that he will die tonight.
Yeah.
Or
so
tomorrow night.
Riddler's trying to kind of convince himself that he still got it by kind of pulling a grand revenge scheme all in like essentially a night. Honestly, that's kind of what he's kind of his plan. He's really ambitious, but yeah, it's a cool upside down reflecting his mental state. He's upside down. He doesn't know left from right almost. So back to the Winthrops. Dr. Winthrop and Alex. They essentially they learned the Balassi, it's a Balassi. It belonged to King Balassi. It's an embalming knife. Again, kind of I want to say the Egyptian times. It's from Mesopotamia. I think it's somewhere in there. They find it is destined for he who rises from the water. It warns that blood will flow when when this knife reaches its destiny, essentially, and everyone will bow to the demon's head. Now, Tiki, I don't know if I've told you this before, I assume. Raj Al Ghul translates to the demon's head. That's why his name is Raj Al Ghul.
That makes sense, yeah.
It's the title. I want to say it's Arabic for the demon's head. I think that's the translation. Denny O'Neil and Julius Schwartz are the ones who came up with that. So, anyway. So, Legend... we have a really great kind of reveal of Raj Al Ghul. Basically, as they're talking about the legend, we see him kind of creep up in like all the artifacts in the museum. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, basically, there's a man knocking on the museum. They don't know who it is. He tells Alex to hide. Alex hides with the knife. Very important plot point. He hides with the knife, and he witnesses Raish. Very intimidating. You want to summarize this one?
Yeah, he's just first of all, he's very intrigued about the fact that Bruce has the knife. He's like, he stumbled upon something more dangerous than he could imagine. I'm sorry, my notes are kind of scrambled.
It's fun. The point is, Alex is hiding with the knife. He witnesses Raish kill Dr. Winthrop. I love Raish is being really cocky in this scene. What's really great, and that's something I love about Alex Sadig's. I want to say it's how you pronounce it.
Well, isn't this where Raish, is talking about the best liars?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a really great scene. I love the sense of history you get with this take on Raj Al Ghul. He's kind of, again, you showed this guy's been around for many years, apparently 2000. Many years.
Right.
And sorry, folks, that still gets under my skin a little. The 2000. I'm rolling with it, though. So the point is, Raish. I love the sense of history we have with him. All these little anecdotes, and that's a great thing you can do with Raish Al Ghul and written properly. It's like he recognizes this vase as a fake because he knows the people that made fakes of this vase from back in the day. Like a Ming Dynasty vase.
But it's a fake from like the 15th century, so it's still super, super old.
Yeah, which is great. And of course, when Winthrop lies saying he doesn't know where the knife is, against the help Bruce Wayne, I've known the best liars, and he basically goes like I want to say a liar from a brothel or something. It goes like a little story about like a liar, and eventually the alarm sounds, and like he says, "Oh, the police will be here." And then, of course, Raish, so creepily, he creeps up behind me, kind of almost like hugs him, essentially, where he basically snaps his neck in front of Alex in the shadows, and Raish leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our cold open.
Which, we've kind of harped on this before with the show, but if they would have kept the Riddler stuff out, which, don't get me wrong, the Riddler stuff is good, but, it would have been a more proper cold open without the Riddler stuff in between those two scenes.
So we check back in the same location. It is now a crime scene the next morning because Bruce said he was going to be by the next morning to kind of find out what's going on with the knife. So we're at the crime scene with Jim and Harper. And by the way, Donald Logue is probably on like sabbatical.
Oh, this is like so obvious that Donald Logue is like on the leave. It's like this is like, I don't know. I still think this character is a little bit sloppy.
Yeah, basically Bullock's on quote unquote sabbatical, which is why he's basically Jim kind of. The explanation of the show
he's not filming another TV show at all.
Or it could be other stuff, it might be. It might have like a family thing going on,
Right.
Regardless, also that's why we had like a diminished Bullock in the previous episode too. It's why he's only showed up at the very end. They're using Bullock very sparingly for that reason. And Harper, the explanation of the show, I guess, is that Harper's babysitting Jim to make sure he doesn't get in trouble.
Uh-huh.
For Bullock's request, because Jim's getting into a lot of trouble. Bruce Wayne happens on the scene, and they're kind of overseeing things. Bruce Wayne happens
right as they're kind of discovering that Bruce was the last one there, according to the logbook. So it's kind of a funny timing. And Dragon, I don't know about you. I'm sure you agree with me. I love the tension that builds up in this episode between Bruce and Gordon.
Yes, it's great.
Mm.
Yeah, man, I love that Bruce is really. What happens to the Winthrops in this episode really does strike the core of Bruce. He feels very responsible, and he's shocked by the death of Dr. Winthrop, and of course a lot of kind of guilt is formed.
I mean, and to be fair, like it is pretty much his fault.
Yeah,
had it gone to Winthrop, Winthrop would still be alive. Raj would have no reason to target him at all.
Yeah. I mean, Bruce, he is putting these guys at risk, but he tried to keep, he said, keep it a closed matter, don't tell anyone else. Again, he tried, but he can only do so much, and he is starting out, so he doesn't exactly. Bruce would probably try to do this on his own, maybe kind of look it online somehow nowadays, but it's unclear. It's early Bruce Wayne. So he's shocked by the death. He tells Jim about Alex, and the first thing he says, okay, hey, he has a grandson, might be out there, and also the knife's missing.
Mm-hmm.
So, so Jim and Bruce's interaction, of course, it's very similar to kind of a Gordon Batman scene where Batman happens upon the crime scene, Gordon and Batman have a conversation. Very similar. Also, something to note here with Mizzou's wardrobe this season, it's all been very kind of Batman-esque. It's all been kind of black and stylish.
Right.
There's every outfit he's in. He's taller now. He's wearing black. Again, they're seeing each other eye to eye. He's as tall as Ben McKenzie. That was really cool. Bruce says, "Look, detective, I'm going to tell you everything you want to know, but I want to come along with you on this. I feel responsible for what's happened." Jim turns him down on that, but basically, Bruce gives him the lead that he outbid Barbara for the knife at the auction. So that's kind of the main lead Jim has right now. He says, "Look, Bruce, I'll keep you informed. I'm not, this is no time to play detective. I'm going to handle this on my own. I'll keep you informed, though."
Oh, he said detective. He said Bruce Wayne's a detective.
Tiki, it only counts if Raish calls him detective.
Right.
Tiki, that's like the fist pumping moment right there. If Raish Al Ghul calls him detective.
Anyway, I hear you.
You're right though. I didn't mean to clip your wings that, but yeah, Jim acknowledging Batman's detective.
No, to be fair, I was being somewhat facetious. I was like, oh, it's so exciting. So, by all means, clip my wings. Anyways.
Okay, so we reveal Raish Al Ghul's henchmen. Just to boil it down a little, so now we have the scene with Raish and Babs is basically commenting on Raish's henchmen, who may be League of Assassins members. These guys aren't really deep pulls from the comics or anything. I mean, there is a character called Nubis, but it's not this guy. Basically, we reveal a guy who I want to say on IMDb, they call him the Hunter, basically the big muscle guy with the weird scar on his face, and Anubis, the bizarre, deranged dog man.
Okay, I called the big guy the Master because it was like the dog and his master, so that's what I have him referred to in my notes. So
yeah, either or. It's just he wasn't named in the episode. Just the
Hunter.
I had a different thing. I was going to call him I was something close to whatever. To the Master Tig. It was I was going to the Handler or something. I was close.
Yeah, for sure. Something like that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong with that. So
okay.
The point is they're instructed, get the knife, and he tells Anubis to kill the boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, importantly, not Bruce. He says not that he doesn't want Bruce killed. I think it's important.
All right, so let's see. So we have Zaz and Penguin.
Yes, Penguin meets with Sophia Falcone. They had Zaz deliver. Essentially, Sophia, to my read on, is that Sophia's playing the long game this episode. She assures Penguin that, hey, look, you're king of Gotham. I'm just returning home. I only wish to oversee my father's charities. That's the only thing I want to do. He basically says, hey, I'm not here to make waves, buddy boy.
And then Penguin, he's just like, well, Carmine Falcone taught me a number of things, including nurturing a healthy paranoia.
Yeah, I really like Penguin reflecting on Falcone's mentorship because Falcone did really mentor the Penguin.
He did.
And of course, Penguin does draw a reference to Falcone's capos who's still around. Basically, kind of like lieutenants who are definitely followers of Falcone, waiting.
And basically they're going underground, kind of waiting for Falcone to come back.
Yes. Let's see. Basically, he says, he's wary of her because she might, her return might kind of spark that or something might happen. That's why he's definitely not trusting Sophia Falcone at the moment. And also, we have this great. Rise of the Victor Zaz gag.
Right. So
basically, if she interferes, what's going to happen to her?
Zaz is like, he's like off to the side and he like gestures very subtly with his knife. He's like, "I'll stab you." And again, Dragon, it makes me so happy that Zaz is getting so many great moments.
Yeah, we have a good line here. Gotham is my home, and then Penguin has this line that I think is going to be very important. I'll hint this much: I think is going to be important in the future. Penguin has a line: "Gotham, mother to us all."
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
So Penguin's playing nice so far. He's playing nice, but he's keeping her arm's length.
All right, so Jim's going in to confront Barbara as the song "White Rabbit" is playing. Very good song choice.
You remember my little my theory that she might be that character White Rabbit.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm just saying, it's something to keep in mind.
All right, so Barbara's being very vague about her client. Just kind of saying he's a big, important man.
This is great, and too, this feels so much like Gordon's asking questions, and then of course Batman shows up just to kind of like enforce it.
What's his name? Raj Al Ghul.
And then her eyes like go, like your eyes. Or now attention filled, and now she's like, "Oh God!" He said the name. No one's. It's almost like, "Oh, we don't say his name."
It's almost like saying Voldemort or something.
It's like, "Oh God!" He said racial goal. Like, I don't know. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. I like that Jim's kind of weirded out, but I like that Jim. He's more on board for this controlled kind of post Lazarus Pit Barbara.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's see. So basically, the mention of race makes her edgy. So basically, kind of the conversation's over at this point. She's definitely not going to say anything else now. She knows that actually, Bruce knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we have a really good scene. The kind of Jim and Bruce's alleyway argument here. Really good scene. I love Tiki. I love how this is directed because this is the classic framing of a Batman Gordon scene. Again, we've seen like that Cat in the Claw episode, kind of like the alleyway, Gordon would go to and Batman should kind of show up behind him. It's an alleyway. We have like the car in between them. It's done entirely in shadow in the wide shot. It looks really cool.
Sure.
So, basically, Gordon's asking, "Who's Ra's al Ghul? What's going on here? who's Ra's al Ghul?" Jim, I love that Jim, again, being the human lie detector, he knows that Bruce is lying here, and he calls him on that.
Yeah, you're a terrible liar, Bruce.
And of course, then Bruce he relents. So he lets Gordon into. I love it. Very much like the Batman Gordon relationship. Batman does keep Gordon informed of things within reason. So he tells him that. I believe Ra's al Ghul has ties to the Court of Owls. He's the guy who ran the Court of Owls. He was the kind of the puppet master behind him. So, okay, I'll tell Harper to look into Ra's al Ghul. By the way, I don't know if you noticed it, Tiki. He calls Harper up to tells her to look into Ra's al Ghul, and then she's saying Ra's al Ghul, who's the? He just hangs up on her. It's like it's kind of rude. It's kind of rude karma, I guess. It's sort of it's kind of a rude action on Jim Gordon's part, and it's kind of karma that years later, as Batman's going to do that to him every single time.
Right.
The fact he was going to kind of cut him off mid-sentence every time. It's like that's Gordon's penance for hanging up on people. So, and we have a really great line. I'm so excited with this in the promo. You want to play detective? Now's your chance.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Again, and this Tegan, this is kind of that Alfred informing Bruce's acting skills. I like that Gordon is refining Bruce's detective skills.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. So then he's kind of quizzing him. He's kind of giving Bruce okay, give me some leads here. So okay, basically, what do you remember? What did you see? Give me details here. And basically gives him the library lead, which with Bruce. They're going to the library, so okay, let's go.
To the library. Da-da-da-da-da.
Yep. Yes, so we have the rapping scene. You take us through.
Oh, God. I don't even know where to start. Oh, this is just ridiculous. I mean, I love how it's it's inventive like Nigma, but it's more stupid and dumbed down than Nigma would usually
and again, it feels appropriate,
which is so in character with the situation.
Yeah,
it's perfect, Dragon. It really is perfect. Oh God! So basically, you know how some people get singing Valentine's, Dragon?
Yep. Well,
Nigma sends a rapping murder threat. God. And of course, Zaz gets the moment of this scene when he's like getting really into it.
He was nodding his head. He's getting like.
Of
Zaz.
course, Zaz has the scene steal of the moment.
Now,
Oh,
Tiki, I
God.
gotta tell you, they had a promo of this where basically they had this reel and they interplayed a few clips while they were rapping. And again, initially I was wondering because I had no context for this. So I was thinking, okay, so is this like they're like promoting like a rap group in like the promos, or is this actually in the show? Like, and then it's actually in the show to my disbelief. Like, oh my God, they actually put it in the show. It's not like a full promo gag.
God.
So yes. Yeah, Zaz has so many great moments this season. Aside from just the head bobbing, he does have this this great line after Penguin's like, "Oh, that could be anything." It's just just Penguins.
And also, he really wants to torture these people.
Zaz wants to torture these people, and of course, well, we just we're being honest with you. We're telling you the truth. He just found us. That's exactly what you would say. That's just great. So,
all right, and then also, Penguin, he declares that he doesn't want Ed dead. He's gonna have Victor freeze him.
Here's the best. There's the go. Here we go.
And then Zaz like kind of perks up, like, "No, not you, the other Victor."
Tiki, I'm so glad they finally addressed it.
That. Yeah.
There are two Victors in the employ, and I love them make a gag at it. I'm so happy with that.
Now let's see them do the same thing with the two Harveys.
Yes. God, yes. All right.
God.
And of course, basically, the riddle intimated the pier. So basically, Penguin's going to the pier, and the idea is Riddler's, his wonky mind isn't going to the obvious thing, which should be the pier. It's going probably somewhere else. Anyway, so Alex is in the historical records room. The idea he has kind of a niche kind of at the library. I like the locations we go to in this. So we go to the museum, we go to the library, and we kind of make use out of them, which is cool. And basically, this is where the bookworm theories come in, is the fact he's at the library. So, he has like the historical records room. Bruce shows up. Basically, the reason Gordon really needed Bruce to come along with him because he needed a face that Alex could trust, so he's not going to be wigged out by anyone kind of looking
Which
for him.
makes sense.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
So he basically sees it's Bruce. Bruce says, "Okay, Gordon's cool. He's with us." And we have so many great subtle moments here that put so much blame on Bruce. And all that Bruce is kind of guilty of a lot of this here. Basically, Alex asks him, and he's kind of reflecting, "Oh my God, my grandfather getting killed was so traumatic. Did you know the knife was dangerous?" And there's that moment. I love it. It's a shot where we rack focus and we see Jim like looking to see what Bruce is going to say because Gordon knows, yeah, it is Bruce's fault.
Right.
And Bruce denies it. Bruce says, "No, I didn't know." And of course, and just Gordon's reaction to that, man, it's like he sees Bruce is kind of teetering on a dark path right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Alex is worried over Raish, as we all would be if Raish Al Ghul was gunning for us. Let's see. Bruce takes Alex as Jim faces Anubis. And Anubis and the hunter / handler / whatever you want to call that other guy.
Yeah. And this is probably the most goofy scene in the episode.
Yeah, just
Gordon literally makes a domino effect with all the bookcases.
That's cool. I mean, I know it's
cool, but it's goofy. It's like 60s Batman goofy.
Yeah. It's not an original idea, but it's kind of cool when you get away. And rarely do we have an action set piece in a librabry. I mean, when you can do that,
right.
Go for broke. Also, Gordon had a funny bit where he's fighting the hunter, like the muscle, and he's saying the guy can't speak English. He's just speaking probably like ancient Mesopotamian or whatever he's speaking. And he just who are you? Thanks for clearing that up.
Oh, you're right. I love that bit too.
Yeah. So basically, Alex catches Bruce fighting. I think he's fighting the hunter off a little bit. He's fighting them off a little bit. And he's impressed that Bruce is kind of having the courage to fight these guys. And then, of course, we have the shelf domino move that kind of separates Gordon from the kids. So now the kids are kind of on their own side adventure. Jim. Sorry, I'm just trying. Yes. Okay. So basically, that's the end of that scene. Meanwhile, Jim meets, and I think I love this so much. Jim meeting Raish Al Ghul in his alter ego as the Minister of Nanda Parbat.
Oh yeah.
A few quick things to unpack with that. So real quick, one, of course, Jim Gordon interacting with Raish Al Ghul is such a rarity. You never see this sort of interaction. Of course, I showed you that my favorite issue of Little Gotham when these two guys are paired together for Father's Day, and it was hilarious.
Sure.
I mean, that's like the only time those two guys have really ever interacted. This is like the second time, and it's kind of it's such a rarity. Raj Al Ghul is such a cool character. So, and then the fact that rarely do you ever see Raj Al Ghul kind of putting on kind of a fake identity. I mean, aside from just in history, he's kind of always kind of going with Raj Al Ghul. But kind of as this alter ego, it's kind of a new spoke to the wheel. And Nanda Parbat is a huge reference to the League of Assassins. That's essentially where Raj Al Ghul trains everyone.
Okay.
So that's all the unpack there. So I was going yes as that was happening. Jim baits him again. I love that cleverly Jim knows. Okay, there's something off with this guy. He doesn't exactly know that he knows that he's calling himself Raj Al Ghul. So he baits him. So he knows that Raish is looking for the knife. So he baits him, saying, "Oh yes, we have the knife. We just have to basically sort through some stuff here." So he calls Alfred's. Basically, Raish is, we're going to get to that in a moment here. So basically, he calls Alfred in the meantime. Meanwhile, Bruce and Alex, you want to take us through some of this?
Yeah, let's see. Alex was bit by the dog, right?
Yes, by Anubis, yes.
Yeah, so of course he's very overwhelmed. He's terrified about, everything finding him, as anyone would be. And Bruce, he's got a great stoic speech. He's like, look, fear is normal. I was terrified in the alley when my parents were murdered. I was frozen in place. I just let it happen. Once you realize it's normal, you can put it in its place, act on it, fight back. So, Dragon, I'm sure you, as a Batman connoisseur, you love that speech.
I do, and I love it for another reason, T. I love that it kind of encompasses a few things we've seen in this show and in this season. Because one, the fear of it all, of course, relating to the Scarecrow plot, perhaps down the line when we bring back the Scarecrow, might be like some seeds being laid there for Bruce in fear. Other thing, I like that it kind of mirrors Jim and Bruce's scene. Bruce kind of mentoring a traumatized youth after a murder of a loved one, very much like the pilot episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing I want to hit is that, to me, it seems. Tell me this scene didn't remind you of Dark Knight Rises a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. When we get into all the kids at school, we talked about how you were this mysterious rich kid, who didn't have any parents and went on elaborate private jet rides and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that has to be a John Blake reference.
Right. No, I totally thought that too.
And speaking of that, and the main thing I want to hit upon, so yeah, one, we directly do reference that sort of thing, but aside from that, I do think symbolically we're kind of ushering in that we're planting the seeds that down the line, Bruce is going to be able to mentor youths who have been in similar situations like himself with Robin. Basically, we're ushering in the idea of a Robin in this scene.
Yeah, and I got to say, I think the Alex character did really well in that regard, and even Alex's eventual fate is going to kind of mirror the Jason Todd of it all. So it's
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jim and Ray. So we see Jim has improved a little bit with pleasantries. He's kind of striking up some pleasantries, some conversation with the minister.
God.
And again, it's a great pairing between these two. I'm very excited to see if they get more scenes. Jim, again, this is what I'm loving here. That Jim, they're both aware of each other here. They're both kind of playing. They're both trying to con each other almost. Jim is sizing up Raish through this conversation. He's trying to understand what's the big deal about Raish. Why is everyone so terrified? Why is he killing people with this knife? What's his agenda? As Raish is kind of spinning his story about being basically his quote unquote reason for. Nanda Parbat was through Barbara was trying to purchase the knife quietly, but kind of Bruce Wayne kind of interfered.
Basically, he was saying that the knife was like a big cultural, like it was a culturally significant item, right?
Yes, and basically they didn't want to alert other nations, so they basically want to do it under the table with Barbara. But things, of course, got a hand down. He's on behalf of his government. He's retrieving it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he's also getting into the story of the knife. Basically, oh yes, the knife. It's the story of a man who could not die. He raised.
I love the line where he's like, "To some, it's just a story, but to my people, it's very meaningful."
And of course, very much building himself up, which is kind of clever.
Sure.
Basically, he was a great king.
That is one of the things I really like about this interpretation of Raish is you can totally see his ego at play.
Yeah. And he basically, and again, he kind of hints at some of the stuff we're alluding to with this knife. That the knife it's less what the knife does; it's more the symbolism behind the knife here. It's like, it was a man who raised a great kingdom, then vanished, vowing to return and complete his destiny with that knife. I like this, Teak. I'm definitely reading into this. I'd like to think that we're kind of alluding to kind of what Batman's going to do for Gotham, looking at Gotham as Batman's kingdom a little bit with that. Just a man who raised the kingdom and knowing that Bruce is tied into this knife a little.
Mhm.
So, there's that. So Jim tries to broker, and again, this is where Jim's just trying to play on what Raish wants an opportunity to search the office to find the knife, and he thinks they might have the knife. So Jim's trying to broker he's trying to broker the boy's safety, basically saying, hey, call off your search of the boy, without directly coming out and saying that. He's like saying, oh, yes, but, if the boy were in jeopardy, then I couldn't possibly, show anyone the knife.
Right.
It's like a really innuendo kind of filled sort of thing. Anyway, before the conversation continues,
oh God,
Alfred, take us through this, Tiki.
Oh, this is great. This is one of the best Alfred scenes, man. He just comes charging in head first. It's like
Gordon.
Oh God, Bullock's villain tries to warn him, hey, heads up, you're coming your way. Oh God. And then Alfred, I love how cathartic it is, where he goes into the room, he sees Raj Al Ghul, without a second thought in the world, he just punches Raj right in the face. It's like a reflex. It's beautiful.
I know. And of course, this is the guy who brainwashed Bruce Wayne, and he stabbed him in the chest. So I mean, again, he wants he definitely wants the punch ratio going. Now, yeah, well, you see the desperation. You don't understand. You understand. You get in there. And again, Jim says, I'm starting to, but you're ruining everything, man.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great. I would say that's probably the highlight of the whole episode for me, is that one little moment with Alfred.
That's fair. That's a really great moment in the episode. Also, another great thing to me is really cool. Again, feeding my love of good Raj Al Ghul bits here. Basically, Raish in the swift motion, after basically recoiling from the punch, he searched the room, he searched the bag, and he left without being noticed. I think that's great.
Right.
He's just that good.
Aw.
So, okay, meanwhile, Sophia meets with the Capos, Falcone's followers, and reaffirms that, guys, I want to say it's intentional. She's reaffirming this so she knows Penguin's in earshot about to hear this. That's what I think. She's reaffirming that, look, guys, I'm not taking over, and of course Penguin appears with Zaz mentioning that, oh, yes, we have roomy graves. We have a few graves dug, but they're roomy, so we can fit more bodies in there. Meanwhile, we have this gag where Zaz off-screen is even great. Off-screen is he's still great, because we have this very timed gag where basically Penguin is listening to the shots of Victor shooting people. Mm. And the last one, then Penguin starts his spiel after he counts off the shots.
And there we are. My paranoia is put to rest.
It's great.
God. I love how casual he is about it.
Yeah. Penguin essentially, she calls her out. You manipulated me. Penguin has manipulated her, and because he is quote unquote, again, quote, this is all part of her plan. Quote unquote manipulated her. He now trusts her because again, you're alive, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And basically, what am I, a worm on the hook? Well, yes, but count yourself lucky. You're a worm on the hook that's still alive.
The worm is usually eaten.
Exactly. And this Tiki, this is what's selling me on Sophia Falcone, stuff like this.
Right? And I gotta say, just for the record, this episode, when she's doing stuff away from Gordon, I like her a lot more.
That's what I'm saying.
I like her as an independent entity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, I'll admit, I'm with you to an extent. I still got to play the long game, see if they're going to sell us more on the whole Gordon. Because right now it's a passion thing. It's not really like a relationship.
Sure.
You get
even with the Gordon stuff, I'm more sold on that stuff this episode than I was on last episode. So
yeah.
But more importantly, like I said, I think she works a lot. She really does work when she's working as just a single entity unto herself. Working independently.
Sure.
So.
We have one of the reasons I'm saying we're singing her praise on is in this scene she has this great moment where she points out, my father, Falcone, he would have publicly sent the message of support. Basically, he would have publicly sent the message of support instead of murder. Basically, she points out the Penguin's overplaying his hand all the time. That's why people fear him instead of respect him, like Falcone. Basically, hey, you can say more without killing someone than you can with killing someone, and then. I think it's very fitting with kind of the way Gotham's going. I'm just saying generally the city is going. He without a beat, he just says, well, it's new times. Again, Penguin's not making any apologies for it. This is his way of doing things, saying, hey, the era of the supervillain is taken on, and we don't need to worry about the antiquated times of mobsters anymore. It's a time of power.
Right, right.
So new methods, essentially, new times, new methods. Yeah, that's about that for that scene.
Okay, so let's see. So Alex,
we're at the museum.
Yeah, he hid the knife in plain sight, right? He hid it like under a display case or something like that.
Yeah, they're at the museum, and Bruce promises that Raish won't get the knife. And importantly, he promised. That's an important thing to note. That Bruce promises that no matter what, Raish will not.
I'm getting the sense that Bruce promising stuff in this show is going to become a pattern.
Well, of course, with the age-old thing of Batman, it's all based on a promise. I mean, Batman loves to promise people.
Oh man,
I think you're right about that. So. He promises Raish will not get the knife, and as he does that, and as they have the knife in their possession, Anubis and the Hunter guy, Hunter guys, whoever that guy is, they attack. Meanwhile, Jim and Gordon, and I really, on the rewatch, I'm liking this even more than I did. Jim and Alfred, they're butting heads over Bruce, and impressively, it's kind of like these are two guys who are complicit in what Batman does, and in the grand scheme, they're going to be complicit in what Batman does. And right now, these two guys in these early years, they are butting heads over those complicit roles. Even now, like, hey, you're letting him play detective. Well, you're encouraging him to go out and get in all sorts of trouble. You're keeping secrets with him. You're his guardian, man. You shouldn't. Basically, you gotta, you
are allowed to violate his privacy if it keeps him out of danger. Come on.
And yeah, this thing we've been building since the first season. These two guys have been kind of the male role models for Bruce Wayne, kind of the father figures, and they both have very different methods of doing so. So yeah, of course, the butler discretion. Basically, Alfred kind of walls Gordon with the whole butler's discretion of it all. Kind of a little. It's almost like a lawyering loophole of just like, hey, I'm a butler. I follow the guy's orders. It's all discretion. And I like how on the rocks they are. Just Jim saying, "Hey, I can't trust you anymore, Alfred. I mean, right now I can't trust you. Harper, if he tries to leave, arrest him."
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh, I'm sure she'll think of something. And you did just punch a guy.
Right.
So basically, Alfred was like going through the bag, and he found a lead that suggests the museum. So that's where Jim's heading to. Meanwhile, Bruce and Alex, they're hiding in the shadows very nervously. Meanwhile, Penguin.
Yeah, so he's very frustrated at the because the rap messengers
they've returned.
Oh God. Again, I love how perfect it is. It's like this is totally something that that Riddler with brain damage would come up with.
Yep. Because again, it's like it's almost clever. It's like it feels like
exactly.
This is almost clever, but it's like why out of all the convoluted ways, and Tiki is speaking like from all the '60s Batman, from all the comedies, of all the over the top ways the Riddler has delivered a riddle, this is a new one. This is a different one. Anyway, so basically they wrap another riddle, and then Batman's just like kind of with Bruce again. Penguin, he's so well dressed in this season.
Right.
I just wanted to put that out there. It looks really good in this scene.
Is just like, can we torture them now? Yeah, sure, why not?
Just what? It's not just like it's a little Robin Lord Taylor's exasperated. Why not?
Right.
It's so much fun that these poor schlubs are about to be tortured by victors. Poor guys.
Okay, so
knife is dropped, which leads to a chase in the museum.
Yeah, Bruce is attacked by Anubis, and Gordon comes in right at the nick of time to save him. Cool.
Yeah, he scares him off with their shots.
And let's see.
We have the very. I gotta tell you, there's a shot in here I really like. It's a very 0 year S. There's this great scene where Batman and Gordon have to run away from basically chaos going on behind them, and it's basically Batman's been injured, so he has to be helped out by Gordon. So it's kind of reminiscent of after Bruce has been has to limp away, and Gordon has to help him limp away. It's kind of a cool. I don't know. To me, it's a cool little shot reference in that. It's probably not intentional. I thought it was cool. So Jim's holding him off. Jim is thrown to the saber-toothed tiger thing, which I gotta tell you, I was a little worried because that promo was very misleading because it has the whole this is all my because here's how that promo went to. It's basically Jim is thrown to the saber-toothed tiger. It's Jim Gordon. He's thrown to the saber-toothed tiger, and then we cut to Bruce saying it's all my fault. I was thinking, oh God,
yeah, that was a little misleading.
For a moment, I thought, oh no, is Jim gonna get impaled on the saber-toothed tiger?
Right.
Well, not lethally. I'm just saying he might get really hurt.
Right.
So anyway, importantly, Alex, what actually happened in the episode, Alex stabs the hunter to save Gordon's bacon. He Alex takes a hit, so he takes a hit. So again, Alex is kind of stepping up, really all brave and such.
Mm-hmm.
And take him to the fetch gag, Tiki.
Well, yeah, I mean, Gordon sees this big, like giant bone, and he just throws it out the window, and Anubis goes after it.
I honestly, I think it's a little too lethal a measure for Anubis, honestly. He is kind of like an inhuman dog thing. It's kind of weird, but I was expecting Gordon to like whack him over the like distract him, then whack him over the head with the bone. That's what I was expecting, but
Yeah.
a little over the top. Like, hey, go out the window, and it worked. But it's what can you do? So let's see. So sorry. Oh yeah, then Jim again. He murders the other guy by he stabs the hunter in the rib with a rib.
Right.
Okay. Jim exasperates. He demands to know, Bruce, why are people dying for this knife? And then we have a great reveal.
Oh yeah.
Boy. And this is like Ben McKenzie did such a great job writing this scene, I thought.
Yeah, so Raish is, he's on the other side of the museum, and he's got Alex captive.
Knife to his throat. And
I gotta say, Dragon, I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but let's just say there's a scene in Lost with Michael Emerson, who's put in the position that Bruce is put in, and it's one of the most heartbreaking moments of Lost.
Oh God.
Because it's his daughter on the other end of it.
Oh geez.
Yeah. And let's just say it goes just about as well as this goes. So.
I think this scene is it's really well acted. It's well written. I think the scene's really doing well for itself here. Basically, Bruce, we see Bruce. The performance that David Mazouz gives in the scene. He feels so desperate at the end of his rope in this scene. Where basically, Raish he reveals himself. He's holding the blade to Alex's neck. Basically saying, hey, it's the boy, basically the boy for the knife. You can give me the knife, I'll let the boy go. And Jim, of course,
Bruce is just like, the conviction on it is like, you don't understand what you're dealing with. Gordon's like, Gordon thinks the obvious thing to do is to give the knife, but Bruce is just like, no, it's like, it's not that simple. Like, this guy is going to, like, he can level civilizations if he has the power.
I love Jim's reaction to Bruce in this scene. Again, we saw like a little taste of it earlier on. This is what's been building to this guy. So desperately, he killed, and he's just saying things that make no sense to Gordon in the moment. But he's speaking from the heart. He's just so like he killed Alfred. He came. They brought him back with, and he killed Alfred. Then he brought him back, and he killed Alex's his grandfather. But importantly, he's knowing that Alex's grandfather warned us not to give him this knife. I don't understand. I can't give him this knife.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim explains that, look, Alex, right now, Alex is all that matters. And he says, you don't understand. And again, Gordon's like so shaken by, oh my, Raj Al Ghul is such a big deal that Bruce is.
I really think this episode does a good job of like building up the fact that Raj Al Ghul is like on a different level than anything else Gordon has experienced before.
Oh yeah, and again, this is classic Raj Al Ghul. Raj Al Ghul's always been trying to push Bruce to the lethal option. He's always been saying, hey, look, if you get over that little kind of hesitation, Bruce, you can be me. Quite literally, you can be my heir. That's how it goes. So Bruce and Raish, Bruce kind of made his choice. I'm not giving him that knife, and Raish is very impressed by this, and I love that Raish is impressed. And this is close to a detective. Yeah. We're getting close there, T. It's so close. It's like in the attitude of the detective. He's very impressed. I'm so glad you're seeing things clearly. The question is, are you strong enough? And then slit. I love how like it's edited too. Like it's an off. Like he begins the slit, we don't see it, and then we cut back to the reactions. Like, oh god, it's so horrifying. Bruce goes to the Alex as he falls dead on the floor, and Raish Al Ghul, he just it's so Seven-esque, I guess. Raish he surrenders.
Oh yeah, that is very Seven-like. You're right.
Yeah, it's a whole John Doe walk in the police station type.
Detectives.
Yeah, so Raish surrenders to Jim Gordon, and meanwhile the GCPD. Oh god, it's such a beautifully acted scene by Mazouz.
Yeah.
Basically, the three. It's the trio here. It's Alfred, Gordon, and Bruce. Bruce is in the middle, framed in between them very appropriately. The one Alex's parents have been informed it's going to take him a day or so to kind of return, races in Blackgate, and I love that Jim's comforting Bruce here. As Bruce, very obviously, he's haunted by the choice that he made. He made a choice that led to Alex, an innocent in all this, getting killed. A kid that kind of saw a little bit of himself. And again, as Tiki intimated, like Jason Todd, like a Robin.
Right.
He blames himself.
No, I mean, I definitely think this storyline is very, like, proto-Jason Todd. You know, it's like it's Bruce having to take responsibility for the death of, like, a child who was following him.
Yeah. And despite Jim's comforting words, again, Jim saying, look, that's on him. It was a psychopath who killed someone. That is not on you, Bruce. Whatever choice it was an impossible decision. Jim he says, look, Bruce, I want to help you, but he basically just needs to grasp the story. I mean, this stuff sounds insane. You got to explain it to me. What's going on? And then, Mazouz has the line right here. It's so beautiful. It does, and he delivers it so well. It doesn't matter what you say. This is my fault. He says it's so broken it breaks your heart. Mm-hmm. I killed him. Oh God, that's really good acting on Bruce there. So, thanks for Enigma of it all.
Okay, so Enigma is pissed that Penguin did not show up. At least it seems like he didn't show up.
I love how coward. I love how foolish he is, and it shows you that his brain is definitely
right.
It's like he walks in again, is completely giving away one that he's completely at Penguin's mercy just walking in here like this. And it's his ego. It seems that his ego is working fine, Tiki. It's like the ego side of the Riddler is working fine, but just the Edward Nygma side of it, just the intellect is not working. I
think that's about what we get out of the scene, yeah.
Like he thinks he's the Riddler, but of course he doesn't have the kind of the venom, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so keep going.
Yeah, so of course the Penguin steps out from the shadows. I may be many things, but I am not a coward. And your riddles suck.
Yep. And he tells Ed that he's off his game.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he spells out to him, you're off your game. And basically, Penguin
You're just describing a range of human emotions.
Yeah.
Like, I love how he gets down and starts nitpicking the nature of his riddles.
Yes, and Enigma, he's trying to explain. No, you idiot, you don't understand. Basically, he realizes
lying down isn't dead. The answer is clearly the cemetery.
This Corey Michael Smith, just the way he kind of snaps like that, just lying down. And I love this. Again, we kind of get that whole school children kind of dynamic between Penguin and Enigma here. Like they're kind of mocking each other like friends. Where how long did he's getting so much. Penguin's getting so much glee out of like the fact that Riddler's really lost it. What the rumors are true. It took you 6 hours for 2 bad riddles. Well, I was the way he delivers this. Sorry, I was frozen in a block of ice.
Right.
He's so pissed off about the block of ice. It's funny.
Which, I mean, to be fair, it is very much like, the block of ice did, kind of destroy some of Enigma's intelligence, at least short term, and that is the thing that he values most. So, yeah, I would say, this is a very reasonable reason for Enigma to get upset.
Yeah, but I really do love this, T. I love that, with the gun on the Penguin. I knew this was coming. I'm so glad they did this. I love how Penguin defeated Enigma here, saying, yes, you could shoot me right now. You could, but you're not the man who, basically, I'm about to get my revenge. I'm going to shoot you, Oswald. There's nothing you can do about that. And Penguin just says, you're not the man who wants revenge on me. I won't even speak. I still won't even speak his silly name. You're not even Enigma anymore. You're barely even Enigma anymore. And basically, it's like the ultimate kind of screw you to the Riddler here, saying that you've lost it. Like you getting revenge on me. Like it only matters if the Riddler gets revenge on me, which I have to earn me saying his name first of all. Then of course, we have this great. Haven't you noticed it feels a little cold in here? Enter Mr. Freeze.
Remember my other Victor?
And then we have this great line.
Oh God, Freeze is like, okay, so should we go with the same pose or something else? Enigma's like trying to block himself. He's like, okay, same pose, got it.
Oh, it's great. And then we have kind of a sad, somber bit here where Enigma admits defeat. He just broke and says, Oswald, wait, I'm not the Riddler. And Penguin, I love this. He decides he kind of takes pity on him. Basically, he decides, no, I don't want him frozen. My revenge is for the better revenge is for Enigma to live, knowing that he's not him.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye, Ed. And of course, leaving Enigma with the
I
question.
gotta say, that's a pretty satisfying kind of final note for the Penguin and Riddler arc.
Yeah, I think it's really solid.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the whole "Who am I?" of it all he's left with now, like the biggest riddle of all. Who am I? And now the Riddler's been left with a riddle he cannot solve.
All right, so let's see. So Sophia, she's telling a story about a man begging for forgiveness before Falcone stabbed him in the neck. Something that she saw as a kid, kind of like, accidentally saw. And then the next morning, there was not a trace of blood on the breakfast table.
Pretty intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, she's kind of catching Jim up on, Penguin killing the Capos. Jim is still, still seeking answers. We have that great love theme going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, we have, again, the passion kind of swoops up between them, and it's they kind of make essentially. This is a much more appropriate kiss than the whole Babs Raish thing at the end of last episode. So at least this one has that great theme. It's
I will even say it's more appropriate than like the beachfront kiss between these two at the last episode.
Yeah, sure. It's a better end.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a kind of a neat ominous thing here. Raish.
Oh, this is great. This is great. It's like, oh, Raish is going to go into Blackgate, and he is just going to mess everything up.
Which honestly might be a first. I don't think Raish has ever been to Blackgate.
Really? I mean, I can see all the storytelling potential in the world for him to, like, pull all the strings from in there, so...
Well, that's the thing. I think the closest we ever got in one of the Arkham games, like, he was kind of sick, and he was, like, on his deathbed, and essentially, like, it was implied that, he'll languish in prison for his last days. That doesn't really count. So, yeah, gotcha. Raish arrives, and he's so delayed because he's got a plan. That's the end of the episode.
All right, and of course, Dragon, you have seen the most current episode. I have not, so we will forego the speculation. By the end of this week, we should be all caught up with Gotham, folks. Thanks for bearing with us. So, Dragon, final thoughts.
I tell you, I really like this episode. I don't know if I like it as much as the last episode, but I mean, this one is. I think it's solid. Again, the race stuff is really entertaining. I mean, we have some weird. The reason I would hold the other one over this one, we have some kind of weird pulls. Kind of Anubis and the Hunter. I mean, it's not bad. It's just it's kind of off the wall, but I think it's really well executed, well written. The Penguin Enigma stuff is strong. We're developing kind of what Sophia's going for, and the big thrill of it for me, I guess, was kind of Gordon and Bruce kind of being paired up on adventure together, and that just that heartbreaking kind of a resolution with Raish kind of taunting Bruce with the fact that, hey, you're kind of becoming like me. You're making the smart choice here as the death of Alex. I mean, we have some great loops thrown at us this episode. So I really respect this episode. I do.
Yeah, I like this episode quite a bit, actually. I think in spite of the Anubis stuff, which you're right, it is kind of like a throwback to like a weird like season 1, like throwaway villain or something. But honestly, that was kind of the only weird part of the episode for me. This episode flowed together really well, especially with the Bruce Wayne of it all. I love the Gordon and Bruce stuff, the mistrust that's sewing in between Gordon and Bruce and Alfred. And, of course, as I mentioned before, I think probably the best part of this episode, besides, like, the Alfred freak out, which was just priceless, the best part of this episode, I think, is kind of, they are genuinely doing a great job with Raish and kind of building him up. And, he is definitely more intimidating than anything else we've seen on the show before. And I think they're doing a great job of that build-up.
Yeah, and you gotta applaud that Winthrop plot twist, because they were really selling it like, hey, here's another character that might be like a Thomas Elliott friend for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because I didn't expect this kid to die, because I knew he was billed for, he was going to show up this season. I thought it was going to be like a reoccurring thing. Even our speculation, I thought he was going to maybe come back for like an arc or something, but no, they killed him off though with purpose. So it was cool.
All right, take us out, Dragon. Take us out.
So remember, kids, no matter how dark and scary the world may be right now, there will be light. There will be light.
Until next time, when we go exploring Gotham yet again.
Sure, why not?